Uh, uh.
Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Thursday evening, ready to talk some Big 12 conference football and get into that good stuff. But before we get started, let me say what's up to my man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10, also WTP Sports Dudes. How you feeling this evening, bro?
Man, pretty good. Can't complain. It seemed like the football season is right around the corner. Can't wait. Sun was out today, man. It was just a beautiful day, man. Even though the rain came down a little bit, just a beautiful day to see the skies, sunny, all those good things. Good to see another face in here as well.
We got our man post game, our Midwest brother with us this evening. The post game podcast. How you doing this evening, bro?
Hey, it's a beautiful day to talk some football, so let's get it.
It's definitely a beautiful day to talk some football. Before we get into this Big 12 conference football stuff, man, I gotta give a shout out to post game because he called it. He said, "I'm telling you right now, Rob, they probably already got a silent deal done with Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about those Pittsburgh Steelers. And we found out today that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to sign Aaron Rodgers. How y'all feel about that move? Is it going to help the Steelers or just something they just had to do since they don't have a quarterback really in that room?
Man, that's for me. I mean, losing a big weapon and then signing him, is kind of questionable to me. But filling the shoes. I mean, it's a good thing. The organization. Their start up front. We never know what could happen. It might be a reinventing of Aaron Rodgers. So, I'm just locked in to see what he does myself. It's not really much more for me to say. Proven until, shows on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. That's 100. I mean, who else were they going to get? I think Aaron Rodgers at this point of his career, he isn't the same MVP Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he has to be as long as your team is constructed in the proper way to complement what he still does well. We know he still can get the ball downfield. And who perfect than DK Metcalf to come along with the ride? DK might not be his best receiver he's played with, but I think DK might be his most talented receiver, athletically gifted receiver that he's played with. They're gonna have to play a lot of strong defense and run the ball and make sure they don't force Aaron Rodgers to have to win every game for them. So they got to play complementary football, and I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they that's the move they had to make. Seeing that they don't really have anybody ready right now in that quarterback room um, that can go out there and get them some games. I mean, they got a viable backup with Mason Rudolph, but I mean, that's all he is a guy who can come in there and maybe control the ship for a half or a game, maybe. But I think that it was a smart move by them just to sign him to be at least be able to salvage this season as much as possible because they got some good defensive pieces on that team. Um, I would like to see them use him in the right way, though. I don't think they expect him to go out there and be the Aaron Rodgers that won the Super Bowl. They like to run the football. They like to play good defense. So I think Aaron Rodgers will be able to fit their system okay. I just hope that he does not get in his own way because sometimes it appears like his mentality, sometimes his personality gets in the way of the locker room. And I hope that's not the case for him uh, going into this season with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Agree. Totally agree with that.
We also got game one of the NBA Finals tonight. The Indiana Pacers versus the OKC Thunder. This should be a really, really good matchup. This is not a super team on either side. So it should be a really, really good contest. We talked a little bit about the fact that OKC plays good defense. They got a star on their team. They got a couple of stars, and you also got a blue collar team like Indiana who has a star, but they also got a lot of guys who played a lot of basketball in this NBA who are veteran like who can probably go out there and make some things happen to help Indiana win. What's your thoughts on game one? Who needs to get it in order to set the tone for this 7 game series?
I'm gonna let you go last on this one post game with you being from respectively from your hometown. For me, I'm looking at the matchup with Pascal Siakam. I think who is gonna have to guard shot. I think we're looking at not only a veteran in Pascal Siakam, someone that's came into the league and made a name for herself. They don't talk much about the 39-point game, the 32-point closeout game. If you take this man off this Indiana team, they're not the Pacers. They don't have the pace to compete with a lot of these teams. His length, his size, he's able to do so many things. And I think, watching this game, like you said, two teams that they're not super teams. But you're looking at all the X's and O's in this type of matchup, this type of final series. So for me, I'm looking at Pascal Siakam to see how he plays, in this game one. Does he play with that veteran leadership, to where it trickles down through the team? Tyler Blur, we see what he's doing. Shy, we know what he's doing. It's just those X's and O's type of players, in this series. I think that's going to make a big difference, as well as those players as superstars.
And that's a
No,
really can you guys hear me?
yeah, we
Yeah.
You
get
hear me? Okay, I just switched to my AirPods. But oh, Rob, you want to go?
no,
Go
no.
ahead,
Go
my
ahead,
man.
post game. Do your thing.
Okay, my bad. But yeah, that's a really great point on Pascal Siakam. And I will be excited to see how Indiana kind of uses him, especially defensively, matching up where they let him guard shy to slow him down or whatnot. But man, this series is really tough for me because I got a lot of Indiana fans that I know, and they're really excited about the Pacers, and they think they can pull it off. And I also think they can pull it off. Will they pull it off? That's a different story because I can see both teams winning this series. I really like Shy, and I'm telling y'all now, man, Shy got a chance to really solidify himself in this era and possibly be the face of the league if he can get the job done in this series. I really, man, I have a hard time handicapping this matchup. I think Oklahoma State is the better team, but Indiana, man, they've really impressed me. And I can see this series going either way. Game one, I expect OKC to take game one, seeing as though they got the home court advantage. And I think they have the best player on the floor, which is SGA. So really excited, and I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I'm picking OKC to win this first game. I agree with y'all that the fact that SGA is probably the best player on the court, and the fact that they're at home, them fans are gonna be going ballistic, bro. They're gonna be going ham. They're gonna make sure that They stay in it the whole entire game so that they can get this game won because this game one is crucial. You don't ever want a team in a 7 game series to come on your home court and steal that first one from you. Unless they like my 76ers when they did it against them Lakers and then got beat 4 straight after that. I hope that's not the case, man. But I'm picking OKC today. I think that those fans are just going to be everything that they need to win this game, and the rest of the players are going to do what they do. I don't think the stage is going to be too big. They're playing against a team that I think that they're more talented than. They can play really good defense. So I'm taking OKC in this very first game.
I didn't choose. I'm gonna take Indiana in this first game. The reason why I'm gonna take Indiana is a rebounding. I think your boy Turner can bring Chet out. Bringing him outside that paint, I think, is a big deal, which teams wasn't able to do. They didn't really have bigs to shoot, and it was good to see you in here. FanDuel Zay, it's good to see you in here. We appreciate you chiming in and watching in the comments as well. I just think that rebounding edge. You got Toppin, you got Siakam, and his name is going to come up a lot. That 6'9" frame on both of their parts, I think, is not seen in a bigger role that they play. So I think with both of them playing the way they have been playing, and Halliburton, man, is a different, he's a matchup nightmare. Who's going to really guard him? So, on the other side of the ball, it's a lot of things I think, and it's going to come down to a lot of decisions by coaches as well. We're going to see whose coach really is a good coach as well in this series. I think that's something that I'm looking forward to. So I'm going to take Indiana. I'm a fan of Halliburton. I love what he's bringing to the NBA. One of the quiet superstars, as we've been seeing. All the talk about him in the Olympics, looking like a little piece of the team, just there, little light-skinned guy. I see you, Holly Blair, as I call you. So I'm going to take the Pacers tonight.
Really, really great points, man. Hey, Rob, I gotta tell you, your 76ers stopped the Lakers from making history that season. If it
Yeah,
weren't for them, they would have been undefeated in the playoffs. So
yep, yeah,
Oh yeah.
crazy.
That they sure would have, wouldn't they? Well, at least we did something. I can't believe that these two teams is in it. And they probably one of them gonna win a championship before my Sixers, and we ain't won it since '83. And B, you need to be on the selling block, my brother,
ASAP.
ASAP, right? We glad to see you in here as well, FanDuel Zaya. Glad you could join us. We wish you was on the screen though, but we understand. Duty
Yes, sir.
calls, my brother. Duty calls.
Working that 12th job tonight, FanDuel Zay.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about this Big 12 conference, man, football. Who are your top 4 teams in this conference and an honorable mention going into this 2025 season? Top 4 and one honorable mention. What y'all got on the slate?
I'm going to go. You're the champs until you dethrone. So I'm taking Arizona State. I like when Provo rocking. I'm gonna put BYU in there as a 2, not in any order, but I definitely got Arizona up at top and BYU. I'm gonna put Jaden Daniels is over there at Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna take Kansas and Kansas State, the other 2, and I got Texas Tech and Colorado as the honorable mention together. I just think the losses that Colorado had really keeps me from putting them in that top 4. But I'm really looking forward to see, it's college football. We just don't know what can happen in this Big 12. And this is a season where I think every team is going to have to show what their worth is. So, no specific order, but I do like Arizona State, until they're dethroned.
yeah, man, I'm with you. Man, it's a lot to like in the Big 12 this season, in my opinion. I had a hard time kind of picking 5 teams because I really listen. I wouldn't be surprised if during the next draft cycle, 1 or 2 of these quarterbacks are top 10 picks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. But top 5, I'll go with Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, Arizona State, and BYU. Now, my honorable mention, I really couldn't pick between Colorado and TCU. So I'm gonna say it's a tie between those two programs.
Man, this was really this was tough, bro. Because I'm sitting there like they probably got 8 or 9 teams that can be shuffling all around the top of this daggone conference, man. I mean, Iowa State is going to be decent. Kansas State is going to be decent. Arizona State is going to be decent.
Yeah.
Kansas and Jalen Daniels can right the ship and not have the turnovers early in the season.
Man.
They can be there because he's dangerous, bro.
Dangerous, man. He read like almost say Jaden Daniels, not to cut you off because that boy different.
He is tough, man. And then you got freaking Texas Tech done spent $5 billion on their freaking roster. They gonna be legit. Then if you gotta go there and get tortillas thrown at you all game, you probably will not win no game in Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Then you got BYU. Then you got Utah looking to bounce back. And then Baylor probably gonna have one of the best running games in this freaking conference, man. It was tough. It was tough. It was tough. I'm gonna say BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, and my honorable mention will be Kansas. I want to say Texas Tech, but I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
As a Longhorns fan, I can't do it. Can't do it. They like Oklahoma to me, and Texas A&M, and Arkansas.
This is
gets no love from me.
Yeah, I think I think it's so much tougher this year than last year because you got a lot of young players, and like you mentioned, that money Texas Tech spent, they had even with the top transfer portal class coming in. You got a lot of great young players. Baylor with that run game, which is going to be crazy and something special to see. So, man, this Big 12, we just don't know, man. They mess around and get a couple in the playoff. We just don't know. This is college football.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of parity, even though it ain't going to be maybe not great teams, but they're going to have a lot of parity within that division.
Yeah.
FanDuel said he got Texas Tech at 1, Arizona State at 2, Baylor at 3, Kansas State at 4, and his honorable mention is Iowa State. He probably put that Texas Tech there just to rub it rub some alcohol in this wound he's trying to have me have because they beat us in the playoffs. But FanDuel, I ain't going for it, bro. I ain't going for it.
And he had him number 1 at that.
Number 1 at that.
Good to see you in here, FanDuel, Zay, man. That's my guy, man.
What Big 12 team are you looking forward to watching closely this season, and why?
I'm really keyed in on Arizona State and Colorado. I want to see what my guy from Jordan Tyson, I really watched him last year before he got hurt. I think it's one of the young superstars that don't get a lot of credit because he's not, I guess, a freshman. He was a sophomore, and I think one of the biggest reasons I would say Arizona State may have not went even further in that playoff. So, having him back, I'm definitely keyed in and watching that. And then, of course, with Colorado, getting one of the top quarterbacks, we all look at and feel, in the class. A lot of people look at that across the board different ways. So definitely looking to see what they do in a bounce back, rebuild, and it's Coach Prime. Will he make it to the playoff this season? I'm all for it and all for Colorado and what they do, all positive. So, for me, just those two teams, I'm definitely looking to see what they do this season.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of I'm interested in a lot of teams out of the Big 12 this season. and I'm looking forward to watching a lot of them, mainly at the quarterback position. But if I had to say one, I'm with you, Mossberg. I would say Colorado and Coach Prime. I would like to see with him bringing in the coaches he's brought in. You got Warren Sapp, you got Marshall Falk.
Yeah,
His sons are off the team, so how does that affect his coaching? A lot of transfers coming in on the offensive line. I really think Salters is people are sleeping on him, and he's an athletic monster. I
yeah,
don't think he'll be better when it's all said and done than Shador, but I think his game fits the college football better at this with the team they got around him. I think he could be more successful than Shador. That's a lot, and that's a tall order, so we'll see. But I'm really interested in Colorado.
Yeah, I agree with you. It gotta be Colorado, right? I mean, we gotta they cause you to have to want to watch them, man, because you
yeah,
want to see Prime be successful. You want to see him build his program up from where it was to where it's going to be. I last year I gave them no hope, bro. I said they won 4 games his first year. I was like, he ain't winning but 4 games again, and he proved me wrong and went out there and won, I think, 8 or 9 games.
yeah,
I think that I'll have a close eye on him. I'm hoping that the TV networks understand that this guy is a moneymaker, bro, and they have him on TV
yeah.
more often than not. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on them, and I'm also gonna keep a close eye on Utah. I want to see if they can get back on the winning side of things. That a lot of quarterback issues last year. Cam Rising at first petition to get another year of eligibility, but then decided I might as well go ahead and medically retire from football. So I want to see what they're going to look like. Their coaches, Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the Big 12. He's a gritty, hard-nosed coach that really wants to have a physical team offensively and defensively. I really want to see what they look like this year because I know what the other teams are going to look like. I want to see if they can bounce back and get back up in the top of this conference. What's the floor and what's the ceiling when it comes to wins and losses for Prime and the Buffaloes?
Mm. Cool.
I'm going to say the ceiling. I I want to say 10-2, but I'm going to take it to 9-3 as the ceiling, and they could surprise us. I could be totally wrong, and they could surprise us. And I'll say the floor would be 5 wins.
I'm right there with you. I think, when you think about that, this is what going in year 3 at Colorado. That'll put you in the playoff. That's a record that could get you in the playoff. And for me, it's do teams in the Big 12 take one of those losses and is it something that haunt them throughout the season? Do they fold like we seen some teams last year throughout different conferences? A loss, turn into a couple losses, as we've seen BYU be a team that gives some prominent teams some losses, and they won a few games in a row, which pushed them in that race. So I feel the same way about Colorado. I think they could do something, just like that, 8 being the lowest at anything other than 9, but I just got high hopes for Prime and what he's doing. Wish he could be at Florida State for sure, but he's there in Colorado. So I'm going to go with that 9-5 being the lowest. Experts thinks otherwise, don't even have him in the playoff. But we here have him high, and we always got high hopes for Prime and those Buffaloes.
Yeah, I'm going to set their ceiling at 9 and their floor at 5 as well. I know that 9-10 range is about what their ceiling should be. Um, I think that if they can catch a hot streak, man, and their quarterback can get rolling, and they could play some good defense, they got a chance to win some games that people would think that they might struggle in, especially on the road. Um, I think that their ceiling is 9, their floor is 10, but I really want to see if there's going to be another team in this conference who we named a whole bunch of teams right in our top 4 or 5. Will one of those teams that we predict to be good, will they sort of fall off like Kansas did, but then come back in the season later on in the season and knock off some teams that are vying to get into that conference championship game like Kansas did? And could Colorado be that team?
Okay.
Could they start off a little sluggish in the beginning because they're ironing out their quarterback situation? And then later on in the season, once it's rolling, could they be a team that knocks off some of those teams that are at the top of the Big 12, and much like Kansas did last year? Before we get into this next question, what's your thoughts on this statement that our man FanDuel said? He said, I want to see if this Texas money will make a difference in the Big 12. Can Texas Tech possibly rise to the top program because of it? Do y'all think there's any possibility that that could happen for Texas Tech with the money that they've spent in the portal?
If go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just asking, like, when he says rise, like, is that in the conference or is that nationally?
I think always. FanDuel been heavy on Texas Tech. I think he's talking
I
about
think in
all
the
around.
country. Yeah, I think he's talking about in the country.
It's college football, guys, and nothing would surprise me. He makes a great point. They do have that money, and man, and they will throw it around. And I mean, if they can put everything together, with the type of money they spending down there, I wouldn't be surprised. It's possible, probably not probable, but again, it's college football, man. Anything can happen. We
I'm
could
a
be looking up week 5, week 6, and they in the top 10. So
That's I agree with you. I know FanDuel Zay, man. He's been speaking big on this Texas Tech team, and I've been thinking about it a lot as when we talk about conferences within a self like this, it makes you think and think. This made me think. We know about the catch-up contract he signed over, in the NFL. He's branded over here in Texas Tech, so we don't know what's really going to go down. But knowing that Mahomes is branded with this program, you're going to talk about uniforms coming out. You're talking about shoes. You're talking about any and everything. Not to mention the quarterback is looking like him as it is, styling and looking just like him. So it's a lot of things. When you go to Texas Tech, you playing in that stadium, as WTT Sports Dudes mentioned about those tortilla chips. If they got some of them things going, you just don't know how it could get in El Paso, because it could be a showdown. And man, if they bring some of them horses out, they got the hats on and they got them things swinging. I forget what they call them. It could get crazy down there, man. And it's a place to be, especially if that TV screen run one.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this: they gonna always have the bread. They gonna always have that bread. But I'm telling you right now, Texas A&M does not get it together. You can see Texas Tech starting to get some of those players that will end up go out of Houston, East Texas, I believe it is. Those places, you can start to see them players going to Lubbock. Even though Lubbock might be a kind of boring spot, their fans are nuts, though. You can start to see that some of those players end up in Texas Tech as opposed to going to Texas A&M, so that they can at least try to rival Texas in this state. And if they can continue to do that, I can see them rising to be one of those teams in the top 15 every single year with a possibility of making it to the college football playoffs because they got the bread. They got a good coach in Joey McGuire. He's a really, and he's one of those coaches that it could be 4th and 5, and he could be on his 35-yard line, and that dude will go for it. He's a huge gambler like that. Now that might be extreme. He'll
do it.
What I just said might be extreme, but he crossed that 50-yard line, bro. He going for it on 4th down. And it can be 4th and 9, and that dude going for it because he feels like I gotta go out here and gamble. I ain't got nothing to lose. We trying to win games, and if we're in a game with a team that's better than us, I gotta try to have as many possessions or extend my possessions as long as I can. And I think this Texas Tech team can definitely become one of the best teams in the college football if they continue to get players and be able to get guys with that money, because they outbid Texas on quite a few players in this last cycle, man. And we wanted those players badly, but they was willing to spend more money than what we were willing to spend. In your opinion, is traveling to Provo to play BYU the toughest road venue in the Big 12? Is Provo the toughest spot to go play?
Last year, I know. Last year, I said yes. Last year, after Texas Tech, the unleashed, unloaded, spent this bread. I think for me, my decision come down to whichever team got the most night games. I think when you factor in night games, if BYU had more night games, I'm going BYU. Provo, we know. They got the bear out there doing push-ups. They going crazy. Nothing like that. But when you go to Texas Tech, you got the stadium rocking. You got music going. You got that added $2 billion, as you said. I'm going to go ahead and take Texas Tech this season because, I don't know, you add that additional Mahomes money in there with the, all the partnership that's going on. So I'm going Texas Tech this season with these two teams. It's going to be tougher to play at Texas Tech than BYU.
Oh man, I'm going to stick with BYU until proven otherwise. BYU is 10-3 at home in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
10-3. So I'll stick with BYU until further notice.
Man, I said it all last season, man. Provo is not a place you want to have to travel. And if they're playing good physical football and they can run the football, you don't want to go to Provo, man. You're gonna be up there, and the air gonna be whatever the air is, light or whatever it is, man. They used to it, you're not. They catch you on the wrong Saturday, buddy, and they might thump your skull in. I'm gonna continue to say Provo, even though Texas Tech is a very, very tough place to play. They're throwing tortillas all over the place. The crowd is nuts, but just that atmosphere, the environment in Provo, man, is just different with that air quality. I don't know what it is because I ain't been there yet, but man, I've seen my Texas Longhorns go, and Taysom Hill ran wild on us. Boy, we out there gassed, and he killing us like he got rocket boosters on his back.
Yeah. And it was tough. It's just like, because I know I picked Provo last year. I think the only thing is just Texas Tech coming in and having that type of offseason. And I just got to imagine that first week, what they stadium going to be like. And I know it could get hectic in there. And then you add them tortillas now. I think they're going to be popping them until the NCAA or whoever's over everything tell them to stop. It might get out of hand this year. So it's that close, a slight advantage to just this year's offseason.
For sure. FanDuel said we slept on Utah and Oklahoma State. What's your thoughts on those two teams?
Yeah, I mean, for Coach Gundy's sake, I hope Oklahoma State is being slept on because if not, that chair is gonna start to heat up a little bit.
They
As
already
far
fired him post game. They fired him already.
Yeah.
they fired Gundy?
Yeah, they fired Gundy. Yeah, at the end of the season, they fired him.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. But maybe OK State, Utah with Devon Dampier. I would like to see him cut down on them 12 interceptions. Outside of that, I mean, I can see Utah being a slept on team.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I just think that Oklahoma State just haven't had that fire.
Oh, okay. He said he's
You
talking
know?
about the stadium rocking. Yeah.
Oh yeah, them stadiums be rocking like I think
Stadium.
it felt like one time I was watching that Texas Tech game. This was in the Mahomes era. It felt like I was literally shaking with the TV. Like the TV was literally shaking from just watching it. It was crazy. So I mean, I don't know. Just normally I would say Provo, but coming into this year, I don't know what it is. Something about that Tech team that's scary, and we just don't know, man. I don't know what it is.
Shoot, Oklahoma State's fans is right here on you. Their sideline is this big. Their fans is on your neck, boy. So that's a tough place to play. Trust me. My Longhorns traveled there quite a few times, man, and they will give Texas fits, especially after Mac Brown was gone. That is a tough environment to play in, man. I mean, it is tough. Utah is a tough place too, man. They dealing with them same kind of elements, like what you see in Provo with that altitude. So that's a good point you made, FanDuel Zay. We appreciate that, bro. Those are
Definitely.
really two tough places to play.
Mm.
Let's tackle this next question. Would it have made sense for the Big 12 to have added Washington State and Oregon State to the conference when they added the other Pac-12 teams? Should they have went after those two teams as well?
Why not? I mean, it only left them with two teams. I don't see why not. You know, it's just two teams in the Pac-12. You can't put them in the Mountain West unless you choose to. Might as well have thrown them in there. Nothing really much more to say about that.
Yeah, you might as well, right? The more the merrier. Uh, man, I gotta tell y'all though, me personally, man, I've said it before again. I just call me old school, call me a traditionalist. I just would rather see the conferences line up regionally again. But that's just me. It still hurts my eyes to see USC in the Big Ten with all those Midwestern teams. So I would rather have seen those teams stay in one conference. But yeah, I mean, why not? Bring them in.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that you probably will not see the SEC do. They're trying to keep their game as localized, regionalized as possible. They're not trying to fly all the way to the West Coast for no games, man. I think the furthest you got to go is maybe Kentucky, maybe Missouri, maybe. But they not trying to go all the way to no West Coast, man. They trying to stay uh, right there in the South, Southeast, and Midwest. They ain't trying to go too far. That's why I would be surprised if they don't go after uh, Miami, Florida State, and Clemson to add to their conference, because they're not trying to add nobody that's way out there. But as far as them adding Washington State and Oregon State, I think they should have went ahead and done it simply because you might as well go ahead and add them to your conference because your conference is looked at as one of the weakest conferences the in all of the conference out of all the Power Four conferences now. I would have went ahead and added them because there is some value in having Oregon State and Washington State over some of the other teams they have, like maybe UCF. I don't want to say Cincinnati because we're in Ohio, but probably Cincinnati too. I don't think Cincinnati will ever be as good as they were when they made the playoff that year. Van Duzel said, I think the Big 12 was waiting for two bigger fish. Yeah, they was definitely waiting for two bigger fish, but the two biggest fish that left, they ain't gonna never replace them two big old fish, bro. But I agree with you. They're waiting on some bigger fish. And but I think that I would have thought that Oregon State and Washington State would have been good for that conference because their style of play is very similar to a Big 12 style of play. So I thought they would have probably fit better there than they would in any other conference. Now, if they was to get in the Big Ten, they're gonna get mauled. If they go to the SEC, they're gonna get mauled. If they go to the ACC, they'll probably get mauled there too, because the style of play might be a little bit too physical for them. But in terms of speed and spread offenses and stuff like that, it's more of a Big 12 kind of fit. But yeah, they probably were waiting on some bigger fish. And there might be some big fish out there. You never know. I doubt it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Notre Dame's out there.
They on the sideline watching.
Will Sam Levitt be the face of the Big 12 this year?
Took Arizona State to the playoff. You won the Big 12. It's only right. I don't see no other QB that they could really put as the face outside of Sam Levitt. I mean, he's proven himself. Last year, you could say what you want about, everybody could say Scott Bow was a great running back. I'm not saying he wasn't great running back to have, but Levitt, the way he used his feet, the way he was throwing that football, man, you can't ask for a younger star, quarterback playing that position in prime games to do what he do. So I like him being the face of the Big 12. I think he definitely can handle it. He's just a cool, calm, collective kid that loves the game of football. As you can see, he go out, does his job, goes over to the sideline, looks to make a play, the next drive out.
I would say that if Levitt is not the face of the Big 12, then Arizona State probably had a disappointing season. I'll say that. I mean, again, gentlemen, I like a lot of these quarterbacks in this conference, man.
Yeah.
Is Levitt the best? I want to say yeah, but man, I would not be surprised if by the end of the season we talking about one of the quarterbacks from a different team. You got the kid from Baylor, you got Salter at Buffalo. Man, it's just you can name them, you can go on and on. But again, if we not talking about him being the face of the Pac-12 or Big 12, then I would say Arizona State had a disappointing season.
Yeah, I think at this point you gotta probably put him out there as the face of the league. You at least need somebody that's gonna be able to run beside Prime in this conference. You can't expect Prime to carry this conference year in and year out, because if he has a down season, his naysayers are going to come out of the woodworks. So you got to have a bright spot somewhere, and hopefully it's Sam Levitt this season. And I agree with you both, man, and FanDuel saying Morton at Baylor. I thought the SEC had a lot of good quarterbacks. This conference has a lot of good quarterbacks, man, who have played a lot of football. And we're going to talk about them a little bit later with one of our questions. But I think that this conference has a number of guys that they could pick to sort of help carry this conference if they don't settle on Sam Levitt. Will the Big 12 recover from losing Texas and Oklahoma? Is it a matter of time before the conference becomes like the Pac-12?
They won't. I mean, you talking about Texas, Oklahoma, Red River rivalry gone out of a conference that needs a rivalry to really cement that conference as a whole. If you think about conferences, they have multiple rivalry games or multiple games that's has a lot of meaning to it. So when you take these two out the conference, not only that Red River is gone, you're talking about your recruits, is out the window in a lot of ways, and just it fluctuate that portal. Also, you're talking about a domino effect in so many ways. So I think they won't be able to get back. I mean, you'll have teams that's good for years, possibly, but I don't think they'll get back to that dominance as a conference and whole, having teams like Texas and Oklahoma not there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Me personally, I don't think you can replace two teams like that as far as Oklahoma and Texas goes. The tradition, the history, just the brands. I don't think you can ever replace two teams like that. But for college football's sake, I hope the Big 12 stays together. Because again, I like regional football. And then at the end of the season, us matching up the regions in the playoffs. I just me personally, that's how I like it. So I hope the Big 12 can survive, but you'll never be able to replace Oklahoma or Texas.
FanDuel saying if they could get Miami and Florida State, they could replace OU in Texas. I mean, that's a good comp. That's definitely a good comp. I'm going to say no, because I think they lost historically. They lost the best team historically ever in the Big 12 in the Oklahoma Sooners, and that pains me to say that, but they've been the best college football team in the history of the Big 12. And then they lost the best brand that they ever had with the Texas Longhorns. So I'm going to say no, even though those are two really good comps in Miami and Florida State. But I'm going to say no. And I'm hoping that they don't fold up, man, and become like the Pac-12. They have a chance here right now to go ahead and solidify themselves as a conference by going and making sure they can try to get to 20 teams, because they got a lot of lower echelon teams in when you talk about the Power Four.
Yeah.
So if they could just hold on to those guys, have a good package deal with whatever network that they can. They've been in existence for a little while now, so they could hold ground, but they got to make some moves. And their commissioner is a little squirrely. It's a little squirrely sometimes, man. Coming from that whole wrestling arena, so if he can get the squirrel out of him, they might be able to survive, man. But he's squirrely as all get out. FanDuel said, no, I've been seeing growth. Oh, man, stop it, man. Stop it.
He's talking about that OU take. I told him to clip it, because that's something we gonna definitely clip.
He said that OU take is crazy. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna let you get that off today, my brother. What's our next question on the slate? That's that quarterback question we was talking about earlier. The Big 12 have quite a few quarterbacks. Jalon Daniels at Kansas, Baron Morton at Texas Tech, Noah at Arizona, Jack at BYU, Rocco Beck at Iowa State, and Sam Levitt at Arizona State. Who's your first team all conference at the end of the season? Who you think is going to be first team all conference?
I like Sam, man. Jordan is JT. Jordan Tyson, I'm gonna figure out a name for you, buddy. He's just different, man. Talking about a receiver like, he reminds me of T. Higgins. His size, the way he catches the ball, the way he go get the ball across the field. You're talking about a specimen. As long as he got him, I think we about to see something different in Sam Levitt this season and the way he could run the ball. For me, it was just seeing the consistency out of him last season and seeing that consistency. And I like FanDuel with Morton. I think they're going to bring a dynamic offense that, reminiscent of when RG3 played and the way he threw that ball. So, I got my eye close on him as well. I really watched Levitt, FanDuel. Shout out to you for getting me hip to him. I like him. I like what he's bringing to the table in that conference as quarterback as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Levitt from Arizona State. But I'm gonna pivot a little bit, and I'm gonna go Sawyer Robertson from Baylor. When you talk about a guy, once the season is over and the NFL draft process starts, and they start going through measurements and senior bowls and all that, whatever comes with it. I think this is a guy who can sneak up and be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft next season from Baylor. But I mean, really, how could you go wrong? There's so many quarterbacks you can put in that spot this season in the Big 12. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a guy that nobody's talking about. Salters. If Salters has a great season and is throwing and rushing for touchdowns with the media behind Buffalo and the haters behind Buffalo, he could make a run at first team. You got Daniels from Kansas, so it's so many picks you can't go wrong. So I wouldn't be mad if you said a few names as first team, but I definitely think Levitt is the favorite right now.
Yeah, I believe that Sam Levitt is probably the best out of these quarterbacks in terms of his upside and what he's going to do before his career is over. But since he's a younger guy, only in his second season, I believe, I'm going to go with Rocco Beck out of Iowa State. I'm going to pick him since he's an older guy. I think they're going to give it to one of these old heads is going to get it because Sam Levitt still got time to get one. I think they're going to give it to an old head, and I'm going to pick Rocco Beck from Iowa State to win. He's going to have some big opportunities to win over some of these coaches or some of these teams that he's going to play against. Because if he can be good and their team can be good, he can sway some of those votes in his direction. And I mean, you got a name like Rocco. Come on, bro. Rocco, come on. You got to.
They trying to put you in there, Rocco.
Yeah, you got
life, a little bit of everything.
Got to vote for that
for sure.
Yeah, you're right, FanDuel. They got 5 or 6 NFL quarterbacks in that league, man. They sure do in that conference. They definitely got 5 or 6 guys who are going to be on somebody's roster. Let me ask y'all this. Do you think that the quarterback play in terms of the last 5, 10 years, even though we haven't seen a whole lot of spectacular guys, have we seen more guys who can stay in the league longer as backups than what we were seeing maybe beyond 10 years ago?
I would say, yeah. I think we've seen a 10-year quarterbacks being backups. We just seen Pickett. Just make me think about him being a top pick, and he's backed up the last couple of years, into a different system now. So I think it's more than possible. You got Joe Flacco still signing contracts. Nothing against these players, but it's just based on the question at hand. And I think it's very possible. Because if you go out and you do what you're supposed to do, quarterback is a sought out position that's going to be never ending. If you get the job done on a week in, week out basis, whether you you've been hurt, you out for a few years or whatever. If you doing your job and the time is there, as we seen Kurt Warner do at that time years ago, back in the day, some don't know, led the team to the Super Bowl and got him one. So shout out to him and what he did, his work ethic, and getting him prepared for that. So I think it's more than right to say yes to this question. Definitely.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get. Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Do you think that the quarterbacks that are coming into the NFL in the last 10 years are better suited for the NFL and have a chance to make NFL rosters more so than the ones beyond 10 years ago?
Well, I think the thing is this: these franchises have to be more patient in the development aspect of quarterbacks coming in now. I think they were probably less patient back then. Um, you see guys like Sam Darnold who didn't hit right off. Now he's coming along. Danny Dimes could be primed to have a bounce back season with the Indianapolis Colts if Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy. You saw my man, what's my man for Seattle?
Gino.
Gino, you seen Chef Gino. They tried to write me off, but so you see you see like they coming in now and they maybe going to different teams and floating around the NFL until they get it and then they just kind of pop. So, and I think that the NFL game
I got it.
now is more comparable to college football. They're willing to do more things. Yes, sir. Baker Mayfield, my bad. Him too. They're willing to match the college game more now. You see more pistol, you see more shotgun. So I definitely think now is easier for the quarterbacks as opposed to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's what I was going to say as well. That the game has the NFL game and the college game are more closely aligned than they've ever been. And 10 years ago and beyond, you were looking for the big 6'5", 230-pound quarterback who could stand in the pocket. Now the defensive guys have gotten so freaking big and fast and strong that you need a guy who could has some elusiveness to him. And more quarterbacks are athletic than, and they were more athletic probably then too, but that wasn't what the NFL was looking for. Now these guys have a place because the game has done changed so much that now these guys have a place where they could make an NFL roster as a second or third string quarterback and be in the league and cash checks for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Colt McCoy, even though he was beyond that 10-year mark, he was in the league for a very long time because he had a little bit of athleticism and he was smart. He didn't have the greatest arm, but you see a lot more of those players like a Colt McCoy coming out of college now that can really help teams in terms of second and third string. Now they might not be starters, but as a second and third string guy, you see a lot more of those dudes. And I brought that up because all of these players that we see in the Big 12, as Fandu said, 5 or 6 of these guys are NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They want to make somebody's roster,
Yeah.
which means those statues that are still in the league are probably going to be getting pushed out here soon.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that was the last question we had in the docket. Now, unless y'all got another question y'all want to throw out there, we coming right up on 1 hour, which is right where we want to be by the end of that last question. So, if y'all got anything else y'all want to discuss, we can do that. If not, we can get ready to wrap it up and get ready for our show on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. or Saturday broadcast. What's happening in college football? Go ahead, post game.
Oh, just real quick, Rob. I want to ask you, since you the Texas Longhorn guy, AD Mitchell, right? The wide receiver. He's
Mm-hmm.
with my Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really catch on his first year in the NFL. He's going in the year two. What is it about him that makes him special? As you probably watched him closely, closer than I have. What makes him special, and do you think he's going to click and be a great NFL wide receiver real quick?
The thing about AD Mitchell is no matter what happens, he always keeps a daggone chip on his shoulder. He had a chip on his shoulder when he was at Georgia because he didn't play a whole lot. But whenever he got a chance to play in the playoffs, he came through. He had a chip on his shoulder that whole season with Texas. There was times when we should have been throwing in the ball and we didn't, but he would be so animated on the sideline, he almost forced you to have to go to him because he could make plays. And I think what happened to him last year in that draft and the things he went through this season, his mindset is always, I'm gonna have a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna play. I'm always gonna be gritty. And I think this year, if him and Anthony Richardson can get on the same page, because I went back and watched some of the film with those two, they just weren't on the same page. But if them two dudes get on the same page, because AD Mitchell's a hard dude to cover, bro. If they get on the same page, man, if AD Mitchell can start to get some of those catches that he needs to really make him, go ham like he was doing for Texas, oh, bro. You love a player like him because he's going to give you everything he got, and he's going to make big plays every opportunity he gets. That's what he's known for, scoring touchdowns in the playoffs. I think he's going to be awesome for y'all, but they just got to get on the same page. That's all.
And
I can dig it.
I was going to ask you one, knowing you very, very familiar with your Fighting Irish, Golden, and how much of I look at him as a young Lou Emery as we lost this offseason and brought him in to the Bengals organization. I have my ceiling is high as it was with Joe Burrow coming in and getting drafted just about on the defensive side of the ball and Golden. Do you think he can come in and change this defense in Cincinnati? I have high hopes of it. I think he's the right fit. What's your thoughts on him joining the Cincinnati organization?
Well, Mossberg, he already did. The year y'all went to the Super Bowl, he was y'all defensive coordinator.
Thought we got another
So
one this last year. My bad.
yeah, the year y'all went to the Super Bowl when y'all played the Rams, he was y'all defense coordinator. After that season, he went to Notre Dame, and now he's back with Cincinnati. So I like Al Golden. I definitely think he has a chance to turn y'all deep at least. Man, listen, y'all don't the Cincinnati Bengals don't even need to have an elite defense. If y'all can have an average middle of the pack defense with Joey Burrow and those receivers y'all got, y'all straight. But I like Al Golden, and the only criticism I got for Golden is that sometimes he sent blitzes, like unnecessary blitzes. You've seen it twice against Ohio State,
Yeah.
where he sent both safeties at critical junctures of the game, and we got burnt both
But
times and lost the game, especially that first game. But other than that, man, listen, Al Golden gonna get y'all right, man. There's nothing to worry about. And again, y'all don't even have to be an elite defense. If y'all can just be middle of the pack with that offense, the Bengals will be fine, my brother.
cool. Appreciate that, Tick. Appreciate that.
Well, I'm gonna give you a spin-off question from his question. Since Golden went to the Bengals, whoever y'all got as your defensive coordinator now, does he have a similar style to Golden, or is it a total overhaul and they're gonna be playing a different style of defense?
The crazy thing is,
Nah,
yeah, I was about to say you
go
can
ahead.
answer that one. I don't know who that coordinator is with him, but I think with the situation we have and with Trey Hendrickson, I don't know if they're trying to bring in. I don't really know what that identity they're trying to find, but I know at the linebacker position, I think that's just something to watch. I think they're really trying to solidify that area of the defense and kind of move players. I think that's kind of the holdup because Shamar Stewart, he's really a freak of nature, man, and I think he could literally play defensive end and he could play linebacker. He's really that good.
So, Rob, you were speaking about the new coordinator for my Irish, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'd be Chris Ash. Um,
Chris Ash.
he,
I'm familiar with him.
Crazy.
but I don't think Marcus Freeman wants to change too much. I don't think Chris Ash was brought in to revamp our defense. I think it's going to be more of the same for the most part. The wrinkle he will throw in for the Irish this season on defense is that he's going to mix in a little bit more zone from what I'm hearing. Last year, we were predominantly a man-to-man team. So I think this year we'll play a little bit more zone. I think Chris Ash was a decent hire for the Irish. I don't think Marcus Freeman wants to change too much. It'll be minimal changes for that defense. And like I said, the wrinkle they'll throw in will be a little bit more zone this season. So it won't be much change.
I'm gonna tell you something about Chris Ash, man, and when he got because he was Texas defensive coordinator Tom Herman's last year, and Texas didn't have a defensive identity though. So he comes in with his style of play, and he's trying to give it all to them, and they really couldn't pick it up yet. So of course they dialed it back. So when he dialed it back and simplified it, and that defense was lights out, bro. They was lights out. So I think he's going to probably go in this same situation, understanding that, listen, we already got a good defense here. We already got the pieces. I don't need to come in here and give them all this stuff yet. Over time, I'm telling you, if he stay there 2-3 years, your defense, you're going to be like, goodness gracious, this defense is so good.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a defensive coordinator. He is.
Yeah, I like Chris Ash. I like the hire. Just don't mess it up, my brother.
Yeah,
That's it.
Just don't mess it up. All right, y'all. Well, that's all I had, man. Another really, really good show. Another banger, as our man Fan Dude would say.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully we'll be back again on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. with our Saturday morning show, What's Happening in College Football. Hopefully you can tune in, join us. Hit the like button, subscribe, share our videos, tell all your friends and family members to tune in with us. And our man Postgame is going to host our Sunday morning show at 9 a.m. on Sunday. So catch us on Saturday at 10 and then Sunday at 9 as our man Postgame going to be hosting the show on that day. But without anything else, homies, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Always, as we always do here at WTP Sports Dudes. Peace.
Peace.
We out.
All right.